This is 2B part 3. In the previous tutorial we looked at how to lay out this table, putting in the CPI rates and basically understanding the basics of the model that we're going to be producing to calculate the ownership year. So what we're going to do, in order to calculate that ownership year, we need to calculate some data along here. We need to know what the actual year is, the interest. We'll look at the annual payment in a separate tutorial, and we're going to work out the balance. Now the actual year is a nice straightforward one because it's going to be equal to the year, whatever the year is, of the start date. Okay, so that will be for the first row, so that will tell you what the actual year is for the first row, and then for subsequent rows it's going to be whatever that cell is above there plus 1. Now we're having to use a cell reference here because we can't say actual year plus 1. Let me just show you what would happen if you tried to do that. So actual year. See, it gets confused because it's looking at itself. So we've actually got to refer to the cell above because we can't refer to a range unless it's outside that range and on the same row. So be the cell above plus 1. Does help if I put in the plus 1. So we'll just do that again. And then we're going to copy and paste that down so it will keep adding 1 to it. Here I'm just going to paste the formula so it doesn't mess up the formatting down here. Now let's have a look at the interest. We're told here it's the amount of interest paid each year, so it's annual, and it's calculated by multiplying this APR bonus percent by the HP value in year 1. So let's set that up. So it's going to be the HP value multiplied by the APR bonus. Now at the moment this suggests that they're going to be paying £86,000 in interest. That's not right. The reason is because we've multiplied by 17.3, but what we actually want to do is multiply by 17.3%. So because it's percent, we divide by 100, and we can now see that the interest in that year will be £861.54. Now it then says that in subsequent years it's going to be the previous year's balance multiplied by the APR bonus. So that is going to be this cell here, so 1 up and 2 across. We've got to use a cell reference because we're not going to name each of these individually, and we're going to multiply that by the APR bonus divided by 100, and we'll copy this down. It's 0 at the moment because of course the balance is 0, and we'll copy that down here, and what you'll see is that it's always going 1 up, 2 across. See, 1 up, 2 across. So as we move down, it moves to the previous year's balance each time. So that was the interest. Now let's have a look at the balance. The balance again is fairly straightforward. In the first year, it's going to start off being the hire purchase value, and then we're going to need to add on the interest. Now this time I am going to put annual interest because that's what we named this column, because what it will do is it will use whichever cell is in the same row. So we can do that and it will use that cell all the time. So it's going to be the hire purchase value plus the interest less any annual payment that has been made. So we'll put in the annual payment. So it's going to subtract the annual payment from it. So we can see here that we haven't made an annual payment yet. So at the moment the balance is just going up and up and up. Now we can't keep copying this down because the interest changes each year based upon what the new balance is. So our new balance is going to be based upon the previous balance and the new interest. So it's going to be equal to the balance in the row above plus the annual interest less the annual payment. And you'll see now, if I double click on that, you can see how it's gone to this cell, and that cell. It's using its data. Because these are ranges, it's using whatever's in the same row. Now if I copy this down and we'll paste that functions only. At the moment, yes, it's getting bigger because we haven't put any annual payments in there. But if we have a look at this one, for example, you can see it's always using the balance from the year before. So here it's using the balance from the year before. It's only this one we did differently, where we started off with the higher purchase value. So that's looked at how to do the actual year, the interest and the balance. The annual payment is quite complex, so that's going to be in the next tutorial.